here's your host, Mark Merrill.
Hello again, folks. Mark Merrill with Firm. On today's program, we're focusing on blue states versus Donald Trump, but one in particular. The picture you see before you is of Paul Mauro, and also noted is that he's a former New York Police Department inspector. Over 30 years of experience. Fox News Channel recently did an interview with Mr. Mauro on blue state attorney generals getting together, about 20 of them apparently, filing lawsuits against the Donald Trump administration and his executive order to clean up the SNAP or food stamp program for illegals getting free benefits. My goodness sakes. Hasn't she got anything better to do? Yeah. You know who it is, folks, when we talk about the New York Attorney General's office. She wants to do this with 20 other attorney generals, folks. Not just New York State's Letitia James, again, pressing the national AG lawsuit. So here's a start on that interview with Sharon Bream and Mr. Mauro.
It seems like this is an extension of, there's sort of two avenues here. You've got the White House trying to extend their reach of DOJ, essentially, of figuring out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is in a number of different agencies and benefits. And then you've got Letitia James, who now has, put this up on the screen if you can, at least 26 lawsuits heading after President Trump. And remember, she said she was always committed to this. Here's a look back at her talking about that. Let's watch.
No one is above the law, including this illegitimate president. And so, I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home. I say one name, Donald Trump.
Notice, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. James is obsessed, literally, with her everyday duties representing the state of New York's safety and protection of all state citizens and resolving criminal activity like illegals stealing good citizens' benefits, by the way. But oh no, she can't separate her hate and potential destruction of Donald Trump. We continue.
Get him. So this is the very latest. Your thoughts on this, Paul?
Well, first of all, I mean, look, there's a couple ways to look at this. Let's do legal and then let's do practical. First of all, legally, all right? She is an officer of the court. She's a lawyer. She's come into office specifically saying, I am going to use my office to target a particular person. That's not how our law works. And the idea here that she seems to be leveraging is the idea, well, you show me the person, I'll show you the crime. She started with the perpetrator and then looked for the crime. Now, I have to tell you something. If you do that at the prosecutorial level so blatantly in another context, as in a place where they are not going to be so fully supportive of you going after Donald Trump, you will get crucified. There's a very good chance you're going to lose your law license. And I'm very surprised that one of the tactics that the Trump administration has not taken is to file formal complaints against her with the New York State Bar. Because from where I sit, she's very close to an ethics violation by saying, hey, I'm going to be the AG, and my principal role is going to be to go after one guy.
So let's talk about the other side of this, which is the White House and the administration's desire to cut waste and fraud. So they look at the SNAP program, and when you look at the three states that are bringing these lawsuits, including Michigan and New York, they have a higher level of SNAP usage than other states in the country, and they also have a larger number of migrants, a lot of sanctuary cities in all of these jurisdictions. So what about going after the use of SNAP?
Of course. Listen, they're going to lose this lawsuit, all right? It's established federal law that the federal government has the right to withhold funding from states if those states are not complying with federal regulations. And that's been established for a long time, going back now almost 50 years. And they know it. This is performative. She's up for re-election next year. And think about the absurdity of this on its face. Essentially, what the federal government is saying is, we just want to know who we're giving the money to.
Right.
That's it. What are we supposed to just blindly throw checks out the window? Might as well open the door and just cut the checks at the Federal Reserve. Throw the checks out the window, because essentially that's what this. They're saying you're not allowed to ask where this money is going. And I was saying I wanted to do legal, then I wanted to do practical. I got to tell you something. Is working here in New York City. In New York City, the number is much higher in terms of how many people get SNAP. It's like 1 in 5. All right. I used to make these arrests. You have to search the prison.
20% of the population.
Yeah,
But 20% of the population, I don't believe, is under the poverty level where you're supposed to be able to collect SNAP, and they're not here on asylum or as refugees.
I'm going to give you the exact number. You have 1.8 million, and there's probably, 8.5 million people, however you count it, in New York City. So you would arrest people, they'd have 5, 6, 7, 8 benefits cards, all in different names. And the way it works on the ground level is you take what you need, but generally what they do is you're allowed to buy certain staples, bread, milk, things like that. They buy that stuff ostensibly, but what they really do is get $100 in benefits from the bodega owner. The bodega owner takes 50%. They keep $50, and they go buy drugs.
Yeah.
All right. Now that's not everybody, of course.
No.
A lot of people saying, "Oh, everybody who's using SNAP benefits is a drug addict." I'm not saying that, but I can tell you that the level of scammery is mind-numbing. You can't believe it, and you would have those moments where you say, "Why am I coming to work? Why am I should just get a bunch of benefit cards?"
But if you clear out those who are using it for nefarious purposes, and you allow people who legitimately have the right to receive it, you're going to save a lot of money across the country.
The way
That's the
it's
goal.
supposed to work. Of course
Exactly.
it's supposed to work that way, and we'd be able to help the people who really need it. We're getting ripped off. Why is that such a bad thing for Donald Trump to look into?
I mean, all of these jurisdictions should be looking at their books and making sure that they're not wasting money.
Bottom line.
If they don't want to do it. Paul, thank you.
Indeed, former Inspector Mauro. So, ladies and gentlemen, on this brief Firm Files focus, blue states versus Donald Trump, seems there's only one, as you can tell, Letitia James. We're going to go a little bit more deep into a disorder. It's real. In the case of someone in a very high authority position as Letitia James, it's dangerous for the country, not to mention the citizens and the entire state of New York. Listen to the real expert, folks. Mr. Mauro calmly explained how the rules of laws of the United States Constitution are executed, and it goes state by state as well. Nah, you can't get around it, Ms. James. How they are executed. Legally. Not with prejudice and violence against a political opponent. How long has she been doing this now? When do the lawsuits and innuendos and attacks on American citizens stop, huh? This is what firm will pursue against blue deflectocrats and left-wing nut radicals that have been doing since 2016. That's how long. Blaming and harassing Donald J. Trump, it's all it is. Now, on another note, folks, as we just mentioned, there is a medical condition for the behavior of not only Ms. James. It's called Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, or OCD. Maybe you've heard of it. It's not good. People are mentally confined for this kind of disorder, never mind treatment. And there's a free test for it online, America. Yahoo! How about that? It always pays with us here, firm, to go the extra mile, the extra few minutes, and find out for myself and you, the American public, it's there. And there's 3 sites for it. We're going to read you a little bit from one, from excerpts of an article written by a Dr. Fred Penzel. As for Ms. James and the other self-righteous radical socialites of Schumer, Pelosi, Biden, Harris characters, for lack of a more appropriate word, it appears, my good law-abiding American audience, that PsychCentral.com, Quora.com, Quora, and the ultimate site for obsessions and obsessors, this is no kidding, folks, it's called BeyondOCD.org. And here's a little sample on that one. It's kind of eye-opening and at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. BeyondOCD.org/expert-perspectives/articles. When People Become Obsessed with Other People by Fred Penzel, the Penzel, PhD. He says he recently visited his local library searching for certain articles on OCD that might be of interest to his support group. Periodicals file is computerized, so he conducted a search of articles on obsessions, compulsions, and both together. To the uninformed, reading these would appear that people with OCD are either a bunch of dangerous sweet talkers or delusional or violently jealous maniacs, ooh, wink, wink, posing a risk to anyone foolish enough to get into a relationship with them and who then want to break up. While he was aware that this misconception existed, it seemed to Dr. Penzel that anyone foolish enough to get into a relationship with them may want to break up, but after looking into this, it seemed that it would be more widespread than he had ever imagined. How could they be so ignorant? There are those with OCD who actually have obsessions which involve others, folks. He says he's met and treated quite a few over the years, but they are hardly dangerous, delusional, or violent. Straightens that out a little bit. He lists 6 categories of the types of OCD. Obsessions that one will have to break up with someone they care about, obsessions that the person will want to break up with them, obsessive and doubtful questions about why one has broken up with someone, obsessive and doubtful questions about why the other person has broken up with them, obsessive doubts as to whether one has harmed, injured, insulted, or embarrassed a particular person, or obsessive questions about the other person's past. These types are usually accompanied not only by compulsive rumination and analysis, but frequently by attempts to question the other person either face-to-face, by phone, mail, or third party or others. The confusion Dr. Penzel comes up with is generally the sufferer, when tortured by doubts, may repeatedly question or search for information, and may result of the individual OCD being unable to process information or their particular obsessive topic, even though they might actually have enough to answer their question. If in addition to their obsession is about losing the other person, I know this talks about relationships, folks, not against other people. But the other type of non-OCD is called erotomania, in which the sufferer has delusions that they have a relationship. Dr. Penzel says, though, his hope is that as the facts of OCD become better known, we will no longer see articles listed as he saw in his town library. Perhaps some of you, ladies and gentlemen, can help in this effort. Simply informing those close to you that you have a problem isn't enough. You must make efforts to help yourself if you want others to be sympathetic. And if you suffer from any of the obsessions mentioned earlier, you can get help And you can recover. Behavioral therapy and medication help a lot, but only if you utilize them. Do not wait, says Dr. Penzel, unless or until you have damaged an important relationship in your life. And when it comes to professional information, more of Dr. Penzel's work can be found on his website. And we will post that as well in our notes, folks. This comes from a website also called Western Suffolk Psychological Services. So really, folks, in the case of Letitia James, seems to be the linchpin to all these lawsuits that she is encouraging or emphasizing and yelling and screaming. She needs some medical help. Like it or not. That's all, folks. We certainly hope this is informative as well as up to date on what Letitia James is up to and how she plans to take Donald Trump down one way or another with her obsessive compulsive disorder. She better get some help. All due respect. Big help. And soon. In the meantime, always check on our podcasts, folks, on Twitter or X.com, YouTube.com, and emails 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com, fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us on Firm. As always, stay safe. Peace to all.